Look at me for a moment. Before the world told you who to be, before fear edited your dreams, before disappointment tried to rename your destiny, you made yourself a promise. Not to your boss, not to your family, not to society. You promised you. And tonight I came with a divine reminder. Don't forget the life you promised yourself, because the danger isn't that life knocked you down. The danger is that you got comfortable living beneath what God showed you. Somewhere along the way, survival replaced vision. You stopped dreaming because paying bills felt more responsible than believing big. You called it being realistic, but heaven calls it settling. You said, I'll get back to it one day. But days turned into years and years turned into excuses. You didn't lose the dream, you postponed it. You didn't stop believing, you just stopped expecting. But I came to wake up what you buried alive. I came to stir the promise you made in prayer, in tears, in midnight conversations with God. The version of you that once believed is still in there waiting on your permission to rise. This is not a speech about regret. This is a call to remembrance, because what you promised yourself was not foolish. It was prophetic. You promised yourself more than survival. Think about that for a moment. When you were young, full of hope and ambition, before the world whispered its doubts into your ears, you made a vow to yourself. You didn't just want to get by. You didn't just want to exist in the quiet shadows of life while others lived boldly. Deep down, you dreamed of something bigger, something brighter, something that would make your soul sing. That promise was sacred, a declaration that you were meant for more than mediocrity, more than living beneath your potential. It was a promise to live fully, to embrace your gifts, to pursue the life that God, the universe, or your own inner voice had whispered into your heart. Yet somewhere along the road, survival became the goal, and that promise began to fade. Life has a way of redirecting us. Responsibilities pile up, bills need paying, people expect stability, conformity, and quiet obedience. Survival becomes the loudest, most immediate call, and we start telling ourselves that surviving is enough. We tell ourselves that the dream can wait, that it's selfish to chase what only we desire. But here's the truth: survival alone is never the promise you made to yourself. That promise was about living with intention, with purpose, with passion. Survival is merely existing, but your promise demanded thriving. Your promise demanded pushing boundaries, exploring possibilities, taking risks, even failing and rising again. It demanded that you refuse to let fear dictate your life. It demanded courage when comfort tempted you to stay in the ordinary. That promise was about awakening your full potential, discovering your strengths, and boldly stepping into a life that honors who you truly are. And the world will test you, people will doubt you, circumstances will push against you, and there will be moments when giving up seems easier than moving forward. But remember, the promise you made to yourself isn't negotiable. It wasn't a suggestion, it was a declaration of who you were born to be. When you feel the weight of life pressing down, when the responsibilities and disappointments feel heavy, remember that promise. It's still inside you, waiting, breathing, calling you back to the life you envisioned. Survival may get you through the day, but the promise you made to yourself is the only thing that will get you through life fully alive. It's time to stop shrinking, stop settling, and stop convincing yourself that just making it through is enough. The promise you made to yourself was about embracing your potential, claiming your purpose, and daring to live a life that reflects your truest self. That promise is still alive, still waiting, still achievable, and it will never let you rest until you honor it. So rise, remember who you said you would be, and pursue that life with everything you have, because nothing less than your promise will ever satisfy the soul that made it. Delay is not denial, but it can become disobedience. There is a subtle danger in waiting, in thinking that postponement is harmless. We tell ourselves, I'll start tomorrow. Well, I'll get to it next month, or when the timing is right, I'll pursue my dream. And sometimes waiting is wise. Sometimes preparation is necessary. But too often, waiting becomes an excuse, a shield to protect ourselves from the discomfort of risk, the fear of failure, and the unknown. And that's where delay shifts from being a choice to being a trap. The dream that once set your soul on fire is still there, but the fire dims each day that you defer action. The heart begins to settle. Comfort masquerades as wisdom. And slowly you begin to convince yourself that your waiting is justified, that postponing is prudent, when in reality it is slowly eroding the very life you promised yourself. Delay is dangerous because it looks innocent, it feels safe. It whispers that there is time, that nothing is urgent, that life will continue to provide second chances. But life doesn't wait. Opportunities pass, moments slip through your fingers, the world moves on, and the window to act narrows with every passing day. And yet you sit in hesitation, letting fear dictate the rhythm of your life. There is a sacred urgency in pursuing the promises you made to yourself. Waiting becomes disobedience when it becomes a pattern, when it keeps you from aligning your actions with your calling, when it keeps you small while the world needs your greatness. You have to ask yourself, are you postponing your dream because of preparation or because of fear? Are you truly waiting for the right moment, or are you avoiding the discomfort of growth? The truth is, the right moment rarely arrives perfectly packaged. Action is the vehicle through which dreams become reality, and delay is the roadblock that keeps you parked in mediocrity. The promise you made to yourself demands that you act, even imperfectly, even when fear is present. It demands that you step into uncertainty with faith and courage. Every day you delay, you are paying a price in lost potential, lost experiences, and lost fulfillment. The life you promised yourself is not a fantasy. It is a responsibility to your own soul. Delay may look like patience, but disobedience looks the same. The difference is measured by action, by movement, by choosing to honor the vision that lives in you despite fear, doubt, or hesitation. Your dream is waiting, but it will not wait forever. The decision to act, to stop postponing, and to pursue the life you promised yourself is not just a choice. It is a declaration of obedience to your own destiny, a reclaiming of the life that delay tried to steal from you. Comfort is the enemy of calling. It sneaks in quietly, disguised as convenience, safety, and peace of mind, whispering that staying where you are is enough. It convinces you to settle for a life that feels safe but never fulfills the promise you made to yourself. You start telling yourself, I'm comfortable here. I have stability. I can be happy enough. But deep down, your soul knows the truth. Comfort is a subtle thief, stealing the fire from your dreams and replacing it with contentment that looks like satisfaction but feels hollow. You were not created to be comfortable. You were created to be challenged, stretched, and pushed beyond the ordinary. Every great life, every fulfilled purpose, every extraordinary achievement requires moving out of comfort and stepping into uncertainty. Comfort tempts you to lower your standards, to compromise your vision, and to ignore the stirring in your heart that calls you to something more. It tells you that change is too risky, that growth is too hard, and that the life you promise yourself can wait. And the longer you listen to comfort, the more you convince yourself that the promise was unrealistic, that ambition was foolish, and that dreaming big was naive. But that's a lie. The promise you made to yourself is sacred, and it demands courage. It demands that you leave the warmth of what is familiar and venture into the unknown, even when the path is unclear. Comfort feels safe, but it is a cage. It limits your potential, narrows your vision, and dims the brilliance of your purpose. The life you promised yourself cannot flourish in the land of ease and familiarity. It grows in the soil of challenge, pressure, and bold decisions. Every time you choose comfort over calling, you silence the voice that whispers your destiny. Every time you stay in the familiar, you delay the greatness that is waiting for you. Your calling is not negotiable, and comfort will never honor it. You must rise above the temptation to settle. You must risk discomfort to claim your destiny. You must remember that the discomfort you feel when stepping toward your calling is temporary, but the regret of never pursuing it lasts a lifetime. The promise you made to yourself was not about ease. It was about impact, growth, and living a life that sets your soul on fire. To honor that promise, you must be willing to leave comfort behind. You must embrace the struggle, the uncertainty, and the challenges that come with pursuing what you were born to do. Comfort is the enemy of calling, but courage is the ally of destiny. Your calling is waiting on the other side of discomfort, and the life you promised yourself is waiting for the day you choose to stop settling and start living boldly. The dream didn't leave, you did. That promise you made to yourself, that vision you held so tightly in your heart, it never abandoned you. It didn't vanish in the night. It didn't crumble under pressure, and it didn't run away when life got hard. The truth is, the dream is still there, waiting patiently for the day you decide to show up and reclaim it. Somewhere along the way, you stepped away. Maybe it was fear. Maybe it was doubt. Maybe it was the voices of others telling you to be realistic or practical or reasonable. Maybe it was life itself, the bills, the responsibilities, the setbacks that made you feel like it was impossible. But whatever the reason, the dream is still standing where you left it, and it's calling your name. You see, dreams are persistent. They don't give up on those who once believed in them. They don't vanish when you get scared. They linger quietly in the corners of your mind, in the depth of your soul, waiting for your courage to return. The problem is not that the dream is gone. It's that you forgot to follow it. You traded action for excuses, faith for fear, passion for comfort. And now you find yourself looking around, wondering why your life doesn't match the vision you once held so clearly. The dream is still alive. You are the one who stepped aside. You stopped giving it the energy, the focus, the relentless pursuit that it required. You let hesitation and delay take your place. But here's the good news: the dream isn't gone, and it's never too late to return. You can pick up where you left off, reignite the fire, and step back onto the path that leads to your promised life. All it takes is a decision to stop blaming circumstances, to stop listening to the voices of doubt, and to start trusting the voice inside you that once believed in something greater. The dream remembers you, it hasn't forgotten. And when you finally step back into alignment with it, you will find that it welcomes you with open arms. You will realize that all those years of hesitation were not wasted. They were preparation. They were lessons, growth, and strengthening, shaping you for the moment when you are ready to rise again. The dream is still yours, waiting patiently for your courage to catch up. It doesn't demand perfection. It demands presence. It doesn't ask for readiness. It asks for action. You didn't fail the dream. It was you who paused, but now you have the power to return. The life you promised yourself is still waiting, and the moment you choose to reclaim it is the moment your destiny begins to move again. The cost of staying the same is greater than the cost of change. So many of us convince ourselves that holding on to what is familiar is safer, easier, or smarter. We tell ourselves, if I don't rock the boat, I'll be fine. If I don't push too hard, I won't fail. If I stay where I am, I won't lose what I already have. But that is a lie that steals your life one day at a time. Staying the same may feel comfortable, but it comes with a hidden price. Every day that you refuse to step out, every day that you settle for less than what you promised yourself, you are paying in regret, in lost opportunities, and in the quiet death of your potential. You may not see it immediately, but the cost is accumulating, and it is heavy. Change is uncomfortable. Change is uncertain. Change can feel risky, and it can even be scary. But staying the same is far more dangerous because it slowly erodes the life that you were meant to live. Staying the same keeps you small. It keeps your gifts dormant. It keeps your calling at a distance while you convince yourself that the life you have is enough. But enough is never the life you promised yourself. Growth always requires movement. Fulfillment always requires action. Transformation always requires the courage to leave behind what is comfortable and familiar. The fear of change may seem real, but it is temporary. The regret of staying the same lasts a lifetime. Every great life, every fulfilled dream, every story of triumph required a choice, the choice to risk discomfort for the sake of destiny. To ignore that choice is to pay a silent, accumulating toll on your soul. You were not created to stay the same. You were created to rise, to evolve, to stretch, and to grow into the fullness of who you are. Every moment you delay, you add weight to your own chains. Every excuse you make is interest on a debt you will pay in regret if you do not act. But the beautiful truth is that change is available. You do not have to remain in the same place. You do not have to stay small. You do not have to live beneath the promise you made to yourself. Yes, the road to change may be uncomfortable. Yes, it may demand courage you didn't know you had. Yes, it may require you to leave behind people, habits, and environments that no longer serve your growth. But the cost of that discomfort is temporary. The cost of staying the same is permanent. Your dreams, your purpose, your destiny, all of it demands that you step out, step up, and step into the life you promised yourself. You cannot afford to wait any longer. The life you are meant to live is worth the risk, worth the struggle, and worth the change. Every day you refuse to move forward is a day that robs you of the joy, freedom, and fulfillment that is waiting for you on the other side. The question is simple. Will you stay small, paying the cost of comfort and stagnation, or will you choose change, paying the price that brings your promise to life? It's time to become who you said you would be. No more excuses, no more waiting for the perfect moment, no more listening to the voices that tell you to settle, shrink, or postpone. The person you promised yourself you would become is still inside you, waiting for permission to rise, waiting for you to take ownership of your own life and step boldly into the destiny that has been calling you all along. That promise you made, the vision you carried in your heart, it was never about being small. It was never about being ordinary. It was about standing in your purpose, embracing your gifts, and living a life that is authentically yours. And the truth is, no one else will do it for you. The world will not hand you your dreams. Circumstances will not suddenly align in your favor. Opportunity will not knock twice on the door of hesitation. If you want the life you promised yourself, you must rise up and claim it. Becoming who you said you would be requires courage, the kind of courage that pushes through fear, doubt, and discomfort. Requires persistence, even when the path is unclear, even when the world doubts you, even when the voice inside your head tells you that you are not enough. You will face resistance, not because you are weak, but because your dream matters. Resistance is the world's way of testing whether your commitment is strong enough to match the magnitude of your calling. But here is the reality. Greatness demands alignment. Your actions must reflect the vision you hold. You cannot speak of dreams and remain passive. You cannot proclaim your destiny while sitting in comfort. You must move. You must act. You must step into the fullness of your promise. Becoming who you said you would be also requires honesty. You must look at yourself and confront where you have settled, where you have compromised, and where you have allowed fear to dictate your choices. This is not a condemnation. It is a call to accountability. The life you promised yourself deserves nothing less. And finally, becoming who you said you would be is an act of faith. Faith in your ability to rise above circumstances. Faith in the dreams that will not die. Faith in the promise you made to your own soul. Each step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to the life you envisioned. Each choice to act, each refusal to settle, each embrace of discomfort is a declaration that you will no longer allow anything or anyone to steal your destiny. This is your time. The world has waited long enough for you to remember your purpose. Your promise is still alive. Your vision is still calling. And the moment you decide to honor it, the moment you decide to become who you said you would be, everything shifts. Doors open, opportunities appear, and the life you once imagined begins to unfold before you. Do not delay. Do not compromise. Step into the fullness of yourself. Rise into the promise and become the person you swore you would be. The life you dreamed of is waiting, and it will not wait forever. Listen to me, church. You made a promise to yourself, a sacred vow whispered in the quiet of your heart. You said you would rise. You said you would dream. You said you would live a life bigger than fear, bigger than comfort, bigger than what anyone told you was possible. And now, right here, right now, the time has come to honor that promise. Stand up, step out, move forward. The life you promised yourself is not waiting on luck. It's waiting on you. Rise up, claim it, and don't you ever look back.